Isn't this a great country where you can come to Washington, welcome to Washington, by the way, and say Washington is toxic?
Yes.
And walk out of this room unharmed?
For now, yes.
Well, let me, as president of the National Press Club, you've taken a lot of swings at the media. I've been a reporter, an editor, or worked in journalism. I've been a journalist for almost 25 years. And I got to say that all of the reporters and editors I know work so hard to get it right and work so hard. I work for Bloomberg, and objectivity, not false equivalence, which you have called out here, but objectivity is incredibly important. It is incredibly important to have, to me personally, to have a fair and unbiased standard of reporting, right? And I understand that everybody has an opinion, and you're welcome, obviously, to it. And we welcome you here to state your opinion. But I know you called out Wolf Blitzer at one point as not having a thought. But when Wolf Blitzer was here accepting an award 2 years ago, every single person who came and spoke about him said he was the hardest working man at CNN, that he was such a hardworking reporter. So I just want to recognize here that the reporters and editors who are working for newspapers and TV, all of which are also digital now, right? They work really hard. They're not in it for the money.
Yep. Yeah, Andrea.
They work hard, and they work hard to get it right. So,
okay, so let me agree and disagree. So, do they work hard? Of course, I don't begrudge them that. No, nowhere in my speech did I say they were lazy. And
I think you did.
No, I think I said they were wrong. That's different than lazy. And so, Wolf Blitzer, his problem isn't whether he works hard or doesn't work hard. His problem is he does have a perspective, and he might not even know it. His perspective is the status quo is awesome. So Hillary Clinton is acceptable, Jeb Bush is acceptable, Bernie Sanders is not acceptable, Donald Trump is not acceptable. And so it oozes out of every broadcast.
I don't want to speculate on his perspective.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to. You look. No. I can speculate. It's not speculation. I'll tell you what CNN's motives are: profit. It's not complicated. They're a giant, multi-billion-dollar corporation. Why are they in favor of the status quo? Well, they don't want to rock the boat because it's their boat. It's their boat. If you're a multi-billion-dollar corporation, you do not want change. You just don't want it. So it's not that they give a memo to Wolf Blitzer, although MSNBC literally told me that my non-establishment thinking was not welcome. But that's unusual. Normally, it is in the hiring decisions. When's the last time CNN hired a radical? You might say, well, of course you're not going to hire a radical. Think about that. Of course you're not going to hire a quote-unquote radical.
I mean, CNN should be in the business of hiring reporters, not politicians, right?
Well, but what is the perspective that they present, Andrea? The perspective is status quo, establishment. It should be the truth, but it isn't. So let me ask you this. Jake Tapper on CNN, and these are not bad guys. I know Jake a tiny bit. I know Chris Cuomo a little bit. Alison Camerota is wonderful. There's a lot of great journalists at the New York Times, Washington Post, et cetera, and they do great stories. Okay, but Jake Tapper goes on air and says Medicare for All costs $32 trillion, but he leaves out that it saves $34 trillion. And he asked Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, how are you going to pay for it? Every time, watch it. I'll tell you ahead of time, not afterwards, not Monday morning quarterback. I'll tell you ahead of time. Every time a progressive goes on air, on CNN or elsewhere, they will ask him, how are you going to pay for it? How are you going to pay for it? Wages, higher wages, anything that helps the middle class, how are you going to pay for it? Did they ask him, how are you going to pay for it on a $2 trillion tax cut for the rich? Did they ever ask him, how are you going to pay for the Iraq war that cost us trillions of dollars? No, they bowed their heads.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. New York Times, you saw Judy Miller. They always apologize afterwards, but they never learn their lessons. So how about Iran? Warmongering, fear-mongering on Iran, on Syria too. But everybody constantly feed into it. I've never seen a single question of Syria. How much is that going to cost? Never.
Okay.